Okay, welcome back to another 2 Plus podcast episode. We've been lucky enough to be joined by John, the champion of the tournament that we've previewed and then run through by now my games, and also had Alistair on earlier with his Dark Elves. John's Dark Elves won the tournament. So it was a 1,500 point tournament, 3 rounds, 3 different scenarios. And while there were 2 people who were 3-0 in the end, it was John who came out on top. John, how do you feel about being the champion?
It feels pretty good. Mostly surprising. But a little bit of indication that, I'm representing this legacy faction and they're not completely poo-poo.
Yeah, do you want to just run through? So we'll cut back to the full shot. I think we've just set them a little bit out of sync. If we run back here, this is the full army at 1,500 points. If you can see from left to right, do you want to just run us through what you took on the day?
Yeah, sure. Basically, some Cold One Knights, 6 of them. 2 units of Crossbow Warriors, 2 units of Dark Riders, a Sorceress on a Dark Pegasus. She had the Ruby Ring of Ruin as well as Tome of Furion, I think. Yeah, gave her an extra spell. Had the Beastmaster on a Manticore who had the Pendant of Khaeleth. I had the Charybdis, a unit of Shades, which are sort of ranked up there they were in skirmish though, and Repeater Bolt Thrower.
All right. Paddy, you thought Dark Elves were, well, we've sort of talked about Dark Elves being a past love of ours, but
Yeah,
were you surprised?
because well, I've got a soft spot for Dark Elves because we played them 20 years ago. It was one of the armies you supplied me when I was 8, and Jem, our other brother, played them, took them under his wing. So it was great to see them get a result. But you've probably seen, John, that they're not regarded as one of the strongest factions. So what did you see early that others may have missed, and how did you get this list to work?
I guess I played Dark Elves, or started in 8th edition, and I basically took my 8th edition army and just added a few extra things. Notably the High Beastmaster, which when I was first looking over the PDF of the legacy factions, I thought this Beastmaster I think is really, really good. His stats are basically a lord level stat for only 75 points. And I thought that's a bargain for, what you're getting. On the Manticore, all up with the Pendant of Khaeleth, which pretty much gives him a 4-up ward, he's only around 250 points. So for 7 wound model, it's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, maybe the only thing that was different was the Charybdis. I saw it as I used to always run a War Hydra, and in this PDF, the War Hydra was a little bit of a wet noodle.
So
he can
what's
take it.
What's the difference between them? Because there's only about 10 or 15 points between them, right? But
I think it's 5 points.
5 points, yeah.
Yeah.
So what makes the Charybdis so much better?
I think it's just the output. I guess you need to kill things in this game to get points. So the Hydra keeps its points, I guess, a little bit better. It has its extra regen save. But other than the regen save, its attacks are not that great. It doesn't really have armor piercing on its mini attacks, only on 2 of them. So when it hits a unit, it just sort of flubs, especially with its low weapon skill. But the Charybdis is pretty solid. It's at weapon skill 5, strength 7, all its attacks AP2, and it even has 1 killing blow attack. So yeah.
Because the other thing that stands out with the list is the core. So this was 1,500 points. So I think was the core 350 or 325 minimum? What's the
no, it was 410. Oh yeah, so it would be 375 as in core in general.
As minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. But on
this
my
is
list
about
it was
400.
Yeah, 410 exactly.
So Dark Riders seem to have a very good rap in the core box, but Crossbowmen hadn't originally. But then you're seeing a few lists at the moment that have a lot of Crossbowmen in them. So shooting is obviously key, just harassing. Is that the key?
Yeah, basically. I think I don't know. I feel like these days people have the past 10 years have gone into the mindset of 40k. Everything needs to kill everything instantly. They have like high expectations that if they don't kill a unit per turn, it's trash. But back in 8th edition, the ballistic skill shooting wasn't that much different. It was basically the same thing. There's no drastic change for the shooting phase. Ballistic skill shooting hit exactly the same. All the modifiers were basically the same. And back in 8th edition, crossbowmen were good. And this edition, I think they're still good too. They just don't delete things right away. That's so you just chip away, and then other things finish him off. Because when you get into those turn 4, 5, and 6 combats, those bits of wounds make a big difference.
We can get into specifics of who performed well a bit later, but the other unit that is featuring a lot in successful Dark Elf lists are Shades, which are basically ballistic skill 5 skirmishing repeater crossbow guys. So they have Scout as well.
Yep, they got Scout.
So they just that kind of get you on the front foot kind of unit?
Kind of. They're just, well, for this army in particular, they're mainly a harasser unit. Maybe a little bit of a distraction as well, because there's only 5 of them. But they're just better crossbowmen. That's pretty much in a nutshell. I would take more, I suppose, if I could. But you're only limited by your points, I guess.
Well, what you have
definitely.
left is the Pegasus. Do you just plan, were you using that for magic missiles, or did you have something more specific? Because I guess you're getting nearly every spell in the lore.
Yeah, she was just going to be a blaster. That's it. She was just going to find what she needs to kill and nuke it. Even like tough units, she could still do a few wins on. I was hoping also to do a little bit of Pillar of Flame action, but that I don't think I hit anything with Pillar of Flame other than myself in game 2. But yeah, she did her job. She would move out, shoot something, delete it usually with 2 fireballs. And I did take Black Horror, but that also really didn't do anything either. It just also served as a distraction, really.
All right. Well, we're just going to cycle through some of these shots. The army looks great as you talk, but we're hoping you might be able to go into just a rundown of the games you played and what the result was, or just who you thought, or just how you thought the narrative of the games went.
Yeah, sure. The first game I had was against Chaos Alex. I think you heard him previously on the show.
Yeah. Friend of the pod.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about his army, and when I saw his army, I was like, "Oh shit!"
He's gonna love this.
I think,
I really was like, I was shaking in my boots, to the point when I was talking to Michael about it before the tournament. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna beat this guy. I thought he would literally just push his models forward. I would shoot my bolts at him. It would just bounce off all of his, 3 up armor save dragon ogres, and then just next turn I'm dead. I thought that was going to be it, but I think I got really lucky that it was the first mission was the command and control with the impassable terrain in the middle of the map. So because of that, it allowed me to sort of split his army. So because I had shooting, he had to come to me, and so because of that, I managed to capitalize on it, sort of first half his army at a time, and got a bit lucky with some flank charges with the Cryptis into a unit of Dragon Ogres. Made him run and ran him down, which I think was the first turning point of like, wait a second, I might be able to do something. But other than that, my Manticore managed to tank his Shaggoth pretty well. I got really lucky with his ward save, 4-up ward on, like, I think 4 or 5 attacks that he got off on me, and I saved them all. It was just, it was beautiful. That was the main turning point, I suppose, because he lost combat, and then I ran him down again. So, and the cherry on top was half a board away, my Bolt Thrower found his demonic. He's Sorceress on a demonic mount, just sitting there by himself with 2 wounds left, and just sniped him out. So it was good.
It was a big victory. I think you hadn't turned
it was the biggest victory.
Who did you end up playing in round two?
It was Keith. Keith and his Tomb
Okay,
Kings.
from Creaky Gamers. Yeah.
Yep. So that was very interesting. It was he when I saw his giant unit of chariots, I was like, oh, I've never versed something like this before. Again, I thought, oh, if he just pushes forward and just goes straight after me, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it. But luckily for me, I think my shades did their job and they distracted him for a turn where he turned his gaze away from my main force, and I took the advantage and just pushed up all my units to try and sort of take the middle and sort of threaten him in a charge if he looked back. And I know from playing Tomb Kings, especially against Michael, who was the tournament organizer back in 8th edition, that if you kill the Hierophant in a Tomb King army, that sort of will win you the game. And so he had his forces a little bit separated and his Hierophant sort of hiding in the corner. And so basically my entire army just beelined straight for it. And my army's pretty fast, so I was able to be right on top of him really quickly. My Sorceress did a lot of work there with her fire magic, got rid of a lot of the regens, like nuking units one at a time. But yeah, it was good, solid. I think by the time he was able to bring his chariots back over to the main battle, I think it was already too late. I killed the Hierophant. All of his stuff started crumbling. He got some really unlucky rolls with his constructs, especially his Necrosphinx and his War Sphinx. Yeah, so that was the game once I got the Hierophant.
Mm. And then you had Wood Elves, Paddy, third round, final round.
Yeah, so there was a lot of talk about Paddy's with I think her game too was against Alistair, who
Yeah.
my co-conspirator, Dark Elf player, and he got tabled pretty quickly against her army.
Also a
So that
friend of
was
the
a
pod, as seen, but
yeah,
we'll
that was a
tag
bit
them both in these, don't worry.
yeah, definitely. That was a so going into that fight, I thought, oh crap, she knows what she's doing against Dark Elves. I've got to be a bit careful and play a little bit more cagey. So when we deployed, I deployed a little bit back. I didn't go like right on the line, thinking, oh, she's probably going to come to me because she had what is it, Wild Riders and some War Dancers, so a lot of combat characters. So I effectively chose the dark route and played like a wood elf, and just went all like avoidance, try not engage, hide behind trees, actually using her forests against her, which I think was pretty funny. I think she made that comment that I played like a wood elf to beat wood elves. um, but yeah, I thought maybe it was a little bit of overconfidence as well because she just came from tabling a dark elf player in game two, so maybe she made a little bit more riskier moves. Um, but I think also I got pretty lucky with especially against a tree man. My crossbowmen were the stars, and they got like 6 wounds. Oh no, 4 or 5 wounds, and she failed all the saves and just took out the tree man just from repeater crossbows.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a good
That was a good
result.
game. Hmm.
So at the end of the day, who are the star performers from your list? Like, who are the absolutely no cuts if you were to change this list?
Well, obviously, my Manticore, my Beastmaster on the Manticore, she's did very well. Like I said, bargain price for a great monster, flying monster. You can't go wrong with 250 points. Sorceress, she's like tried and true. She never sort
Yeah.
of goes wrong. Getting the 5 spells out of battle magic is so reliable. You don't even need the Law Familiar just to get the Tome of Furion for 15 points. It's like a discount.
Hmm.
The Cribdis was probably the next one. I was surprised. I'd never used the Cribdis before. The Abyssal Howl is really good. 6-inch bubble of -1 leadership as well, on top of everything else. So if
So
you're
did
using a
that trigger like break tests or
yeah, so
yeah.
that's basically the only reason I broke the Dragon Ogres, because I think they were leadership
Yeah.
8, and it won the combat, but obviously they're bigger than the Charybdis. But leadership, he rolled a leadership 8, and Charybdis Abyssal House -1 to your leadership. So it's perfect.
Yeah, that's nice.
Was there anything that you thought you'd cut going forward?
It's funny, the Cold One Knights didn't do anything. Like literally. They never fought a battle. They never did nothing. However, the threat of them kept people away enough that I was able to shoot them more.
Mm.
So even though on paper they didn't do anything, but on statistic wise, I think they're amazing in combat and I love the unit. But just so happened this tournament, they just never got into a fight. So they were just always looking at the army menacingly, making people didn't get too close, because if you got too close, they'll charge you. And so I just took advantage, kept shooting people. And yeah. The repeated bolt thrower, it sort of made its points up for all 3 games with that one sorcerer kill. But other than that, it did a little good damage. I think it wounded the Sphinxes as well. Maybe the Tree Man, I can't remember. I don't know. The army was just performed really nicely. I'd swap things out. Maybe the core, I'd run a Witch Elf block.
Ooh.
Especially since a lot of people are sort of averse to shooting, even though I think shooting's really good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Witch Elf block if you can run the Death Hag to make it part of your core.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah,
if you can get them up the board, they're an absolute mincing machine. But
Yeah,
toughness 3, no armor.
when I saw that turn 1, I was versing that Chaos Army. I was like, oh, I should have went to Death Hag, like
Yeah.
sort of, because she would have went crazy on the Dragon Ogres, but it's alright.
And
still did well.
Do you think 1,500 points kind of suited this list? Obviously, for anyone who watched our previous video going through all the list, there was only one dragon, which was a High Elf Sun Dragon. So do you think the Manticore became like the dragon of the tournament? Was that like one of the stronger units on the board across the tournament?
Maybe. Like the Charybdis is stronger technically, strength 7, but the Manticore is only strength 5. Like, and the rider on the charge is strength 5. And he's toughness 4. Like, he's not that scary. The main thing is the 4-up ward against strength 5 or more attacks.
Yeah.
So a good tank can dish out a little bit of damage. That's decent. Like, that's the only way she did well was with winning combat, just by not taking damage. You'll do like 1 or 2 wounds. But yeah, I don't know. She's definitely not versing like a Bretonian Lord or something like that.
Yeah. Because do you think at 2,000 points, would it just be a straight upgrade to the Black Dragon, or would you fill up different areas of the list?
Yeah, like I would say, like the Black Dragon. I think the Dark Elf Black Dragon is one of the best dragons in the game.
Yeah.
Especially there's sort of 2 builds you can sort of do. You can do the Avoidance Flame build. So you give pretty much the Master a bow. Well, I think no, I don't think a Beastmaster can run a dragon. That would be nice. But yeah, give him a bow and you just breath weapon everything and just sort of avoid and do that. And if you get in combat, well, it's the dragon, so you'll be fine. Or you can go the full combat build with, Ogre Blade, blah blah blah. So I think that'd be good, but I feel like, I don't know, that Manticore for 250 points, I'll probably still take it.
It's
like, why don't have
it's
2?
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's can you take 2? Can you take 2 Manticores in your 2,000 point list?
I think so. You probably could, and then also the dragon. Yeah, but you need your level 4, so I probably wouldn't be able to fit it.
Yeah. So all up, obviously you won it, so you had a pretty good experience, but talk to us about the actual event and like being involved in the day. Because was it you that was sort of semi TO, or were you just there to play?
Not really. Like, I was part of the organization team. Like, Michael was obviously spearheading it. My involvement was basically 3D printing the terrain, so I did quite a bit of the terrain there. You saw the palm trees, that were a bitch to print. Other than that, I've competed in a few tournaments back 10 years ago. So Michael was asking me about, what did you see in these tournaments? And I'll say, this is what I saw. This is my experience, I guess, with doing those tournaments. But other than that, like Michael insisted that I play in this tournament because he wanted representation for the Western Sydney Wargamers. So, but yeah, it was great. Like, I think Michael did a fantastic job sort of TOing it. He's a very confident guy. It was a great sort of to reconnect with a whole bunch of people that I hadn't seen in 10 years. Because the Western Warriors effectively, I used to play quite a bit back when Blacktown had unlimited hobbies, I think. So we used to go there, play, and I've even gone to team tournaments with the Western Warriors. So that was a blast from the past. So yeah, that was good. It was a very well-run tournament. We're very happy with the venue. Um, Solid place. Like, yeah, you can't ask for more than that.
You're happy with the old world return to Warhammer? As you said, it's been 10 years for some people. What do you think the game has going for it going forward?
I think it's really good. However, I haven't played in the 2000 point meta yet, which is probably shielding us from a lot of the maybe the growing pains of the old world. 1500 points, like we've been playing that for a little while now. Just we started out, learning at 1000, then we went to sort of 1500, and with time constraints, we sort of were happy with 1500 because playing a 2000 point obviously makes it last even longer. In terms of the tournament itself, it made it a little bit more relaxed as well during our games, having a 1500 point. But yeah, the game itself, I think it's pretty solid. It's got a good foundation. I think it can obviously improve in some areas. But that's only going to get better over time, I think. And hopefully, we're doing our job in helping create the community to get back on track, I suppose, back from 10 years ago. Reconnect everyone again and probably host more of these tournaments to yeah, have some more fun.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see if Paddy can get out to one. If I'm not doing
Yeah,
anything
hopefully.
already, I will pencil it in. So hopefully it's in October because September's looking terrible for us. But yeah, congratulations, John. I think you played really well. I saw snatches of your games. I think to be able to take this sort of list is a lot of people are going to be interested and you've got a take on it. I don't think many people were thinking of a Charybdis, which has when you look at it, you think, why isn't anyone thinking about it? The stat line's great, but the Manticore as well is something that I don't think has been considered by many people. So I wonder if you'll see copycat things around and lists around. But otherwise,
I
yeah.
would be honest.
If do you have any other burning questions, Paddy? Dark Elves, it's been gnawing.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I have a soft spot for them. They got a really bad rap and they're considered one of the weaker armies. But what do you think? Like, do you think, obviously you won a tournament, but do you think they are a viable army with like flexibility, or do you think they're limited in this scope of like shooting and a monster, or in your case, two monsters, which I guess is kind of the meta at the moment. But do you think they're a playable army across the board?
I think there are a few combinations that you can sort of run with them. A lot of people compare high elves to dark elves. And for unit per unit, I think high elf infantry are better than dark elf infantry, but everything else in the dark elves is better than everything else in the high elves. Like maybe the caster with I get a reroll every turn, but I don't even think people use it that much from my experience. Like, oh, you roll a 9, you're not going to re-roll that, so I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential for them. Hopefully Games Workshop decide to reinstate the legacy armies and we get a new expansion of the new world. We'll bring back the lizardmen as
I
well
hope
as the
so.
dark
We can
elves.
only dream, John. Yeah.
Until
Top
then, we
ones
gotta
need an upgrade
represent.
across the board.
Yep. Well, the cold one with what is it? With dark magic, when I give them hatred and +1 attack, they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that would be solid. Yeah, that's about it for me. I like to see Dark Elves succeed. So congratulations, well played.